Hi everyone, welcome to another Headphone.ph review. Today we have the Sine headphone from Audeze. This is an on-ear planar magnetic headphone that retails for $449. And there's also another one that costs $499, and that one comes with a lightning cable that you can use for iOS devices. This headphone is I think already discontinued, but you can still find them on Amazon and other sites for less than the actual MSRP. Before we begin, I want to mention that the headphone that I have has an over-ear pad. So I've had this headphone for quite some time now, and obviously the pads have deteriorated after some time, and I read that you can actually get an over-ear pad from Amazon, from a third-party manufacturer, and that's what I did. I'll link the pads below. I think I got it for $8, and it made the headphone an over-ear headphone as opposed to an on-ear headphone. Having said that, there are no difference in sonic characteristics. I feel I've spent 2 years with the on-ear pad and less than a year with an over-ear pad, and I really couldn't spot any difference in the sonic characteristics. So the headphone comes in this rather large box that also acts as a storage case if you're not going to be using the headphone for a long time. The accessories are not a lot. There's this absolutely useless fabric case that won't protect your headphone from any scuffs. I've said it plenty of times, but headphones that are $200 upward should have a hard-sided carry case. It also has two cables. The first one is the standard. Let me just pick it up. This is the lightning cable. So this cable is used for iOS devices, and the cool thing here is this module here comes with a digital signal processor, which means if you plug this into your iPhone, for instance, it would automatically download an app that allows you to EQ the device, and the EQ that you use gets stored in this little module here. So when you use your headphone in other iOS devices, that gets retrieved fairly easily, which is pretty neat. I don't have an iOS device, so I really didn't get to test this one, which means I won't be able to evaluate the sound characteristics with this cable. And of course, the normal 3.5mm cable, which also comes with a 3/4-inch adapter if you want to plug it in for amplification, external amplification. So the build quality of this headphone is pretty good. It's made mostly of metal and leather, two materials that I really like. The leather parts are in the headband. It covers the headband with leather. The outer part here is also leather, believe it or not, and the ear pads are synthetic leather. Even the on-ear pads that came originally with it is made of synthetic leather. The plastic part, I believe, is this one, the one that holds the bail of the ear cups. In terms of looks, I really like how it looks. It is all black, has very little branding, and I just really dig how it looks. Onto the comfort. So even in its on-ear stop form, I did find this fairly comfortable. Mainly because it hugs your head quite well. The clamp is a little strong at the beginning, but it goes away. With the over-ear pad replacement, it's made it more comfortable. Again, it's the type of fit that is snug and sort of like hugs your head, so it gets warm after some time if you're in a warm or environment or weather. Passive noise isolation is quite average compared to other sealed headphones that I've tried and owned. For example, the Beyerdynamic DT1350, the MSR7, and the Sennheiser HD280 Pro are all better in terms of passive noise isolation. Since it's a portable headphone, if you're thinking of using it for commute and travel, do keep in mind that it does not isolate a lot of like low frequency noises, which means you'll have to turn up the volume a little bit. Onto the sound, I find the Sine to be a very good sounding headphone for its price. It's unlike any other on-ear headphones in the market. It competes with full-size sealed headphones, and the sound quality that you're getting here is really good. But I have a lot of feedback on the signature, which I'll mention in a bit. The overall tonality of this is fairly neutral. That is slightly on the bright side of things, just slightly. I say that because the bright description varies from person to person. The bass of this is, very good. It is well extended and fairly flat. It doesn't have any bloat. It's got a good slam. But if anything, I find it a little lacking in level. So ideally, the mid bass and sub bass of it is a couple dBs higher than the current one. But make no mistake of it, it's a flat bass, which means it's a very good sounding bass. The transition of bass to mid-range is fairly smooth. The mid-range is a little forward, which gives life to the vocals and instruments that are in that area. The problem is it seems to have more upper mid-range than what is desired, which can make the vocals sound a little shouty. I listen to a lot of female modern pop tracks, and I can kind of feel the shoutiness after some time, and it's just hard to not notice it after you've noticed it. The treble is also very good sounding for a sealed headphone. The low treble is articulate. The mid treble is withdrawn quite a bit, which makes the mid treble is the part where it has a lot of harshness and sibilance, and with it being withdrawn, it means there's no harshness and sibilance. But the problem is it's withdrawn quite a bit, which makes you lose some of the instruments that play around that range. The high treble, 10 kHz and above, is fairly accentuated, which sort of retrieves some of the lost detail in the mid treble. But I find it to be excessively accentuated in that area. Like usually when you go to the high treble, it's supposed to go down, but I think that this headphone retains the frequency, and as a result, there's a little excessive amount of air, which makes the whole music sound a little artificial, and it also causes the vocals to be a little breathy sounding. Now that seems like a lot of feedback, but I'd like to make it clear that this is a good sounding headphone, very cohesive sounding, but it just happens to have a lot of small things that I think would make it even better. Now things get more fun with the Audeze Reveal application. So Audeze Reveal is a DSP app from Audeze that applies room correction, equalization, and things to their headphones, and it's pretty interesting that they made that app, but also that it has equalization presets for all of their headphones, which is sort of them admitting that the headphone they make are not tuned like how they want it to be, which is why they're correcting it with the EQ from the Reveal app. So I did download it, I applied the EQ, and it made it sound better. The bass has that increased sub bass and mid bass that I was mentioning earlier. So it makes that part fuller sounding. The stock sound makes it the stock sound sounds lean at times, like it's very punchy and has good slam, but it's a little lean sometimes, and the accentuation in the bass when you use the EQ makes this sound fuller, and that also makes the mid-range a little less forward because the bass is elevated and the mid-range is retained. It's the same place. It's lower in level relative to the bass and the treble. So that means the shoutiness that I was experiencing with the normal stock sound of this is gone, and that's actually really good. In terms of treble, the low treble is it's around the same, but the mid treble is accentuated or increased. I did mention that the mid treble is quite a bit withdrawn with the stock signature, and the equalization makes it so that it's 2 to 3 decibels higher than the previous or the stock version of this audio. I find that to be okay, except that it's excessive. It makes the sound signature way brighter than I would consider acceptable. And considering that the high treble is unchanged, what you get is a very bright signature because you have a accentuated bass, a slightly recessed mid-range, but then the treble area is almost at the same level as the bass, if not higher. So it almost makes it not tolerable to listen to for some of the music that I'm listening to. For example, some of the Dream Theater tracks are just way too bright for my taste. But I see potential in that signature. So what I've done is I've manually adjusted the equalization. I just brought down the mid-treble, a couple of dBs lower, as well as the high treble, and that made it sound like how I wanted it to sound. So still better than the stock audio, but it's also better than the default EQ from Reveal because it's not as bright and fatiguing anymore. The soundstage of this is better than traditional on-ears, but it's fairly typical of normal full-size headphones. Imaging is also quite good. This has a good transient response and a fast decay that makes it very lively sounding. But the problem is the excessive air in the treble makes it a little metallic and hazy sounding. So even when I EQ'd the excess treble energy using the Reveal plugin, it still retains some of it. So that's something to keep in mind as far as imaging of this headphone. So do I recommend this headphone? Well, from discussing the characteristics, it's quite obvious that I like the sound signature, and the fact that I have this for a good 3 years now. But recommending it is another story. I feel like at $400, it's just not a good value for this type of headphone. Yes, it's the best, by far the best on-ear headphone in the market. But if you're looking for just the best possible sound that you can get for a sealed headphone, I feel like you should be looking at full-size headphone, the bigger headphones. Like this is, not a compact headphone. If you look at it, it's almost like a full-size headphone. And so there are some good options in the market, namely the Oppo PM3, which is less expensive than this one. The Focal Spirit Classic and Professional that I've reviewed a couple of weeks ago is also a good option if you can find it. And if you want, if you have a couple hundred more that you can add, you can go with the Focal Elijah, which is significantly better sounding than this and is also more comfortable. And there's also the Mr. Speaker's Aeon Flow Closed, the first version, which I think has a street price of just $600. Those headphones are better in terms of price-performance ratio than this one, even though they're more expensive. Plus, they're more comfortable too. So it's a good choice for this if you're looking for a headphone of this type. But if you like this headphone a lot, like how it looks, don't have any problems with it being an on-ear, or you can swap it out without any issues to an over-ear, then by all means go for it. This headphone is available in used marketplaces such as Headphone and some other forums. So I did check earlier and I found one that goes for $275. I think in that price, it then becomes a good value. So that's it for the review of the Audeze Sine headphone. If you own this headphone and would like to share some of your thoughts, feel free to do so in the comment section below. Thumbs the video if you like it, subscribe if you like more headphone video reviews like this, and visit headphone.ph for the text version of this review. See you guys next time.